Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Pursuit. I'm Ben Spangle, your host, and I'm excited to be sharing with you another episode at The Pursuit. We're all about helping you in the pursuit of your best body, mind, spirit, and life. And it is the season. I got my Christmas sweater on here for you. If you can't see it, you can check it out on YouTube, but I'm going to be rocking that with you tonight. You know, in the Christmas season, the thing is that most people are feeling a little bit happier. They're thinking the season, the holidays, they like that. You get a little bit more time with family, but I know it can also be quite stressful for people too, where they're worried about money. They're thinking about things maybe that didn't go as well as they wanted to this year, or how are things going to change in the new year in 2023. And it's that subject that I want to talk to you about today. You know, I'm super passionate about our mind. And that our mind and your mind is the greatest tool you have to change your life. And if you can learn to reprogram your mind, you can learn to create anything and everything you desire in your life. If I could share with you a little bit of my own journey. When I started in personal development, I was 21 years old. I'd just gotten into the business world. I was failing in life. I was not succeeding. I was going backwards financially every month. I was making about $2,000 a month. My credit cards were not quite maxed yet, but they were soon to become maxed. I was not in good health, shape, or fitness. I wasn't eating well. I was drinking all the time. I was smoking pot back then. I mean, I was not heading in a good direction. And then thankfully, I got into the business world. I got access to some mentors and a great environment in the financial service industry, and it opened me up into the world of personal development. And as I started to read great books like Think and Grow Rich on the shelf here, and The Greatness Guide by Robin Sharma, and Secrets of the Millionaire Mind later on, and books on law of attraction, and books on leadership, and books on habits, and all of those things, something happened. I started to get a new idea in my mind. I started to get an idea that I did not have to settle for an average life. I started to get an idea that I did not have to be who I had been up to this point, that my life could change. I started listening to audios. And that first couple of years of growth and development, not a lot changed in my life in terms of business and financial results, but a lot changed in terms of who I was being on the inside. I was learning without knowing it at the time, because I didn't learn all this stuff right away, but I was reprogramming my mind. I was reprogramming my mind for success. And I didn't quite know it, but my results in terms of dollars had not changed yet, but a lot had changed. I was happier. I was healthier. I was more positive. I was more optimistic. I was more fulfilled. I found a career that I actually loved. And so these other things were changing. Everything back then I measured for the most part in dollars and cents. And so I didn't see myself succeeding, but I realized as I look backwards on it, I was succeeding. I was succeeding in other areas. It just hadn't translated to dollars yet. And then as I kept down that path, and then in my third year into growth and development, I went to a seminar, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and I learned in depth how our programming is impacting our results. And most importantly, how you can reprogram your mind for anything you want. And then I started a reprogramming conditioning routine. And then next year, things really changed. My income doubled. And back then, I mean, it wasn't a lot, but I went from $30,000 a year to $60,000 a year. But that was a big jump for me at that point in time. The following year, more great things happened. I kept working on my program. I kept working my business, and my income went up again. And then my income doubled again. And there were some big leaps. And the reason I share that with you is that when you're really committed to working on yourself and you're really committed to working on your mind, you may not always see immediate financial changes. And if you're kind of like, a business person, career-focused person, often we think, well, I need my money to change. That's what I want to change most. If that changed, then the rest of my life would change. And I want to share with you is money will not change your life. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Money definitely will change your life, but it will not change the quality of your emotions. You are responsible to learn how to change the quality of your emotions, whether the money's there or not. I suppose if you have more money, you could argue that you've got less things to worry about. But I'll tell you what, when you end up with more money, you still got challenges, you still have problems, you still have all those things. So if you don't learn how to manage and regulate your emotions well now, it's still going to be a challenge when you got the money you want. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. I want to talk to you today about this time. We're coming to the end of the year, or depending when you're listening this, it's the start of a new year, or maybe you're listening to this, 6 months down the road. It doesn't matter. Here's what I know. You're listening to this because you're looking for something. You're looking for something that you want to change in your life. There's things that you want differently. And maybe it is your money and your finances. Maybe it is your health and your fitness and your body. Maybe your marriage is on the rocks and you want to get better at that. So you're thinking how you can improve yourself. Maybe you're not doing as good as a job as a parent as you'd like to, and you want to look at that. I don't know. You just want to be happier. I'm not sure. But there's a reason you're listening to this, and something attracted you to it. Something drew it in. Things don't happen by accident. Well, I'll tell you what. You're here because you want to change. And I want to share this message with you. I'm going to share it with you till the day that I die. If you want to change your life, you need to learn to reprogram your mind. You have to get into the operating system of your mind. You've got a conscious mind and you've got a subconscious mind. Change does not happen in the conscious mind. It happens by changing the subconscious mind. We use the conscious mind to get access into the subconscious to reprogram it. And that's how we create lasting change. All of who you are is stored in your subconscious mind. So you got to keep that in mind. 95% of who you are is habit. 95% of who you are is habitual. It's automatic. The way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, the way you're acting, it's a habitual process. What you're attracting, the vibration you're in, it's habitual. The majority of who you are is habit, unconscious, stored in the subconscious mind. So if you want to change your life, then you've got to get into the subconscious mind. You've got to reset the programming. You know, years and years ago, many great teachers have used it, but the analogy of a thermostat, and a thermostat being your set point in your life. And it is a good analogy to use because your subconscious mind has blueprints, financial blueprints, health blueprints, wealth blueprints, success blueprints, relationship blueprints, all of these things, or thermostats or set points that it's programmed for. And if the blueprint is laid out for a certain level of success in your relationship, or the blueprint is laid out for a certain level of success in your body or your business or your income or whatever it might be, and you don't alter the blueprint, nothing changes. If you don't change the thermostat set point, nothing changes. I live in Canada, so we measure everything in Celsius. I know some of you guys are Americans who use Fahrenheit, and a lot of you, the rest of the world, I think we all use Celsius, but nonetheless, we like to keep our home at 20.5 degrees Celsius, which I think is somewhere around 70-ish Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. Anyways, we like to keep it. And so we keep it, and we've got, of course, a furnace. It gets very cold where we live, so you definitely need a furnace if you're going to survive the winters here. We've got air conditioners, which you don't need here, but it's nice to have them for about, 3 weeks a year when it gets too hot. And the way the thermostat works, we keep it at 20.5. So if the temperature outside starts to drop the temperature in the home below that, well, guess what? It turns the furnace on. I can hear the furnace right now in my house. It's going because it's quite cold. It's like minus 30 outside right now at the time of this recording. So the furnace is on to keep the house and make sure it stays at 20.5. But in the summertime, when it gets too hot and the house starts to heat up to 21 to 22, the air conditioner kicks on to bring it back to 20.5. That's just like your life. This is your subconscious mind. This is your cybernetic mechanism, as Maxwell Maltz put it in his great book, Psycho-Cybernetics. It's the mechanism that regulates your level of success in any of the important areas of your life. It's the thermostat set point. So you use your income, your financial success. You've got a set point of what you're set at. If you don't alter the set point, what happens is you start to get a little bit better results for a period of time, but then you unconsciously sabotage yourself to bring you back to the 20.5 degree set point. Or the opposite, if life starts going out as good as you want and things aren't happening, your income goes down, as an example, you lose a job for a bit, something like that, and it gets bad for a while, something happens, you unconsciously turn the heaters on in your life and you start to get a bit more focused, you start to find a new opportunity, new resource, whatever it might be, put a little bit more effort in, and you bring yourself back to that equilibrium, that set point. All of this is happening primarily on an unconscious level. Now, the good news is when you're listening to this might not even be the first time you've heard it. You might think, yeah, I'm very aware of that. Well, the good news is that you can change the set point. You can alter the set point of where you're at. And if you learn to alter your set point, if you learn to program a new set point, your success becomes a new level of unconscious success. So then the question, of course, is, well, what do I actually do to work with that? Well, I mean, you could look this up pretty easily on Google and find a whole bunch of different methods. You could do stuff like hypnotherapy. You can use visualization. You can use scripting. You can use studying the same material over and over. You can use affirmations, or as Tony Robbins calls them, incantations. or as Harv Eker calls them, declarations. I mean, you could do that. You could use guided meditation. You could use guided subliminal programming. You could use writing in a journal. You could use, there's so many different things. There's on and on and on. There's so many modalities, so many methods you could use. You want to figure out what works well for you. I am a massive fan of meditation and visualization. I'm a massive fan of journaling your future. Huge fan of that. I've done hypnotherapy multiple times. It may have worked. I'm not sure, but I'm a fan of it. I don't do it too regularly, but I like to build into my meditations, even as I'm building custom meditations for some of my clients or some of the ones that I'll do for my seminar company. I'll build some hypnosis stuff that I've learned into there because there's a lot of value in it. So I'm a fan of many different methods, right? There's so many different things. I'm a fan of starting to think about, what do I want to believe, and then to write those beliefs out over and over. I'm a fan of that. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Those are just a quick flavor of some that you could do. And I'm not going to dive into all the details today of every single one of those, but I want to encourage you that if you want to change your life, to really start to get serious about your mental conditioning routine, your programming routine. If you're in good physical shape, as many of you listening are, or if you're wanting to get in good physical shape, as many of you listening probably are, you know that a routine becomes valuable, a physical conditioning routine. Of course, there's diet and stuff like that, but you want to have a great conditioning routine. It's the same thing with your mind. You want to have a mental conditioning routine. So what does that actually look like? What are you going to do on a daily basis, or what could you do on a daily basis? I'll give you a quick example. Maybe you're going to start doing 5 minutes of visualization every day. It'd be a good place to start. If you're not doing that, it'd be a great place to start. You're going to start with some visualization. Maybe you're going to start meditating for 20 or 30 minutes a day. Or maybe you do meditate, but you don't do it as often as you want to, and you want to commit to 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. And that might be part of your conditioning routine. Maybe you're going to find a great book that you want to study over and over. A book that you love, that really resonated with you, that had amazing ideas. And rather than go and read 50 books this year, you're going to study 3 or 4 or 5 really intently. That'd be a great plan. Maybe you're going to write out some affirmations and read those out loud or in your head every morning, or say them out loud for a few minutes. I don't know what your plan is, but I want you to come up with one. And if you're serious about changing your life, I hope that you will not leave today without taking some time, taking some action to write them down, your action plan, your programming routine, and run with it. Run with it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Maybe you tweak it a bit. Maybe you try something else. If you've heard this stuff before and you're thinking, man, I was doing that, get back on track. You know you can do this. Your life will change when you learn to reprogram your mind. Your life will change when you learn to reprogram your mind. I promise you, this stuff works. I know it works. I changed my life from a guy barely scraping by to prospering financially, from a skinny fat guy to pretty dang good shape, from no quality relationship to an amazing marriage with an amazing family and great kids, from growing up in a family that was, it was a crazy time growing up, to be in a position that I've learned. I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes. Trust me, I do. But how to be a great dad. From no business success to a pretty successful business. All of these things changed in my life. Was there things I did? Absolutely. Was there actions I took? 100%. I think my most important actions I took, though, was I was very serious about reprogramming my mind. Sometimes more than others, but very serious about it. So I want to encourage you today. I want to leave you with that. I'm excited for you whenever you're listening to this. I'm excited for you in your life to change. I also want to talk to you about, if you're not subscribed to this podcast, to make sure you subscribe to it. If you're not on my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube. I share videos on there. All the podcasts become videos, plus I'm sharing more. And the newsletter is my favorite place that I'm reaching people right now. So in my newsletter, I'm sending out a weekly newsletter to help you with strategies, with tactics, with things like these ideas. Get on that. You can click the link in the podcast, click the link below YouTube to subscribe to the newsletter. And please, lastly, share this with somebody you know. If you enjoyed today, share it with somebody you know. Help them get this information so that they can learn the power of their mind to start reprogramming for their success. See you soon.